Hello, James. Could you please give an introduction about yourself?
Hi, my name is James. I've been self-employed for since August 2018. A friend of mine joined the real world, or sorry, Hustlers University, maybe January 2023. So he did, and he set up a company, and he was doing really well. And he came to me and he was showing me, and I was like, mate, that's mad. Like, that's there's no way. And he's like, yeah, no, it's all with like Facebook ads and stuff. And I was like, mate, you got to show me. You have to show me. So I went down to his house. He sat me down, went over all the details of how he's doing it. And essentially, he gave me exactly a rundown of what's taught in the ecom campus, if I be honest with you. So by the time I joined the ecom campus, the information was kind of out of date. Not gonna lie, for me personally, because he showed me everything. But like, here it works. So anyway, so I came to him with an idea about 2 months later, and he thought it was really, really interesting. So we did. So I was like, you know what? I'll do the website side of things. I'll do this, and if you can just focus on the meta ads, because that's just something that I've no experience with, but I've got a lot of experience with ecom in general anyway. Like, I've ran quite a few sites online before, but it's all been organic. So it has, and they've done quite well. So the idea of Facebook ads where you tell me all you need to do is like increase the ad spend and you make more money. He's like, yeah, it's that simple. It's like, no, no, I mean, there's no way. You got to show me that. So anyway, we get a website set up, and we were kind of sitting on it for a wee bit because, like, there was a lot going on. He was really busy. I was really busy. There was a lot going on at that time of both of our lives. And we were sitting on the website for about maybe a month or so before we got everything set up. But it was all good to go. It was just getting the ads account and all that. So, but before that, we started making sales from the website without anything, like nothing at all. Just it must have just been from SEO searches. I was like, oh, that's got potential, man. That's got real potential. So we set up the ads, and it's rated bat, does amazing, really, really better than what we could have ever expected. Very high profit margin, extremely high profit margins for what we do. I don't really want to say much else other than that, but the margins are good. You're looking at maybe like 50% profit margin, low end. I've had some days where it's as high as 70%, and that's with tax included, by the way, which is just ridiculous. I think anyone could agree with that. So we work on that together, and we run into the usual ecom problems with, like, payment processes, PayPal, problems with the ad account, and all that sort of business. So, like, we would go for like maybe 2 months. It would go down, and then we would get it back up and running again, and then do another 2-3 months, and then we'd go down. And that worked out really, really well. But my friend Jacob, his main website just started really taking off like insane. Over Black Friday and Cyber Monday and all that, like that month leading up to Christmas, it was 300,000 in sales. So of course, by the time it comes to Christmas time, he's like, mate, I just can't. I don't have the time for this. Like, you're better off just taking over yourself. And I'm like, oh, mate, see the back end of Facebook can be very daunting, I find, to a lot of people, and they change the way everything looks very consistently and all the time. And I think they do that on purpose, because I think there's a lot of agencies and a lot of marketing managers, and that's their entire job, is to just master that one skill. I feel like, and I think it's almost a way to keep people out. Almost, would that be? That's what I feel like anyway. So anyway, I take over the website, so I do Christmas time. I'm playing about with some silly things, and it's getting to the point where I don't want to go and ask him anytime I've got a silly question. The guy's busy. You know what I mean? I don't want to be a liability. I don't want to be just like, mate, what do you think of this? Should I do this? Should I do that? It's not fair on him. And he's always spoke well of the real world, or Hustlers University. And I'm not personally some, like, I'm not a Teat fan. You know what I mean? I'm just putting that out there. Like, I'm not part of that whole sort of demographic, I would say. So there wouldn't be any. It's not something that I would personally ever in a million years even think about. And let's be serious, there is a lot of, especially on Twitter, when it comes to e-commerce, there's a lot of people that just selling courses, throwing out, like, a lot of fake screenshots, so it's something that I would never myself would have went for. But, like, I trust Jacob. I know he's like, it's worked for him. You know what I mean? So I'm like, all right, you know what, I'll sign up for it. And I'd already done the 10,000, so I got into the advanced chat, and the advanced chat has been a genuine goldmine since I started. So you just being able to go in there and get solid and reliable information on tap. Essentially, it's insane. I've had since I took over, I've had 3 times I've had disturbances, like, so say, like, your payment processors, your ads accounts, all that sort of stuff. Like, everyone runs into these issues, like, PayPal restricting funds for like 30 days and all that. It's like, guys, how do I go about this? And also, is there any tips and tricks to, like, improve my profit margin? Because, like, again, 10% in fees alone, pretty high. What can I do to go around that? And I've actually got some really solid feedback and a lot of really good responses. So yeah, I would say overall pretty good. And that's pretty much where I am so far. I've just hit the 3 month mark, so I did, and I applied for the council. Although I'm still 2 days away from getting the golden night, which I think you need, because I was talking to one of the guys and they said, "Look, just come back in like 3 days and you're sweet." So I think that's Friday and I should be good. So that's not bad. I'm looking forward to that.
Cool. I'd love to dive into that. First thing was, I was very surprised when you said, after I reached out, you're like, ah, yes, Jacob. And because I've interviewed him before. But
Yeah,
when you mentioned him, it was really cool to hear the story that it's because of Jacob that you
yeah,
then trusted Hustlers University and decided to
mm.
join it. And now you're seeing value from it. Whereas I just said yourself, had it not been for Jacob, you wouldn't have joined because it's
No,
just
zero,
not
zero,
your
no,
beliefs, like not what you would have trusted. Let's say it that way.
no.
Mm.
Yeah, I never would have touched it. But again, I think me and Jacob, we've bounced off each other in some ways. I've been self-employed for quite a number of years, and me and him have worked on a couple of different small projects together. And like, some of them have worked out, some of them haven't quite worked out. He's always been very interested in a lot of the stuff that I do, though. Although what I do, my niche that I'm in isn't really his tastes, but he is interested in the back end and how it works. So I think we've bounced off each other in certain ways, because I feel like if I wasn't doing what I was doing, I don't know if he would have started doing this. You know what I mean? And then I think there's a bit of osmosis going on there. I
Yeah.
believe. I think there is. You bounce off people. Although one thing that I must say that I'm kind of not sad about, but black pilling, I would say, is a lot of my friends always ask me, it's like, so James, how do you do this? Like, they're always really interested in how you making money, how you, like, how many years is that? 2018? Like, I'm 30, so like, that's a lot of my adult life. I've had to rely on myself to always have income, and I've done very, very well, better than most people that I know. And it's a hard thing to get into what I do. So I don't blame a lot of my friends saying like, oh no, I don't know. I'm not really. I couldn't do that. You're really into that sort of stuff. I'm not into that sort of stuff. I couldn't do that. But when it comes to e-commerce and running Facebook ads, I believe that to get into that is so easy. Like, put it like this: it took me about a year and a half to get to doing what I do as a full-time job. It took me 3 months in ecom to be making a very healthy amount of money. And to me, it feels like, well, why aren't you guys doing it? Come on, do you want to? Like, I'll sit you down, I'll show you, I'll give you the steps. And they're just like, they never going you, like, you're sitting down having a drink, you're talking, and then a few days later, you don't get anything back from them. Like, just call me, I'll shit sit you down and I'll help you do it. And like, I think that's very important. I think everyone wants their friends to do really, really well. And it's just, I think it is quite black pilling when you realize just you can bring the horse to the border, but you can't make them drink
Yeah.
it. You know.
I was thinking of that exact same quote
Mm.
when you're telling me the story. So it is a shame, but again, they have to want to change themselves. It's not something you can
Yeah.
force on them. So yeah,
No, you
unfortunately,
can't.
it is how it is.
I mean, you want your friends to do well, and it's one of those ones you can't help someone if they're not. Even then, like, I've heard a few of them say, "Oh, I don't have the mood. I don't really know." It's like, get good, just learn how to do it. And again, that's something that I've found, especially if you meet anyone who works online. Adaptability is key to everything. What worked even a year and a half ago does not work today. You're going to have to constantly be changing and adapting your skill set to fit anything. And that's something that I have definitely bought into. And also, just be anti-fragile. Again, if you're working online, Facebook, like, don't get me wrong, I run Facebook ads and they do amazing, but I need to remember that Facebook could turn around to me and be like, "Look, James, that's you. We don't care. We don't want your business. What can I do about that? I'm gonna have to learn how to. I'm gonna have to learn TikTok then, aren't I? I'm gonna have to learn, Google. I'm gonna have to do this. I'm gonna have to do that. And I think that's really important because I feel like a lot of people just they roll over and die almost. They don't they you can't
Mhm.
like force motivation into people. Although I don't really want to talk about that, like, oh, motivation, all that jazz. That's a false god, I suppose, and anyone could tell you that.
That's the thing with the internet. It gives you more opportunities, but it also
Yeah.
means you're actually competing against everyone who's on the
Oh yeah.
internet and
Oh yeah.
doing like a similar thing. So even though there's more opportunity, there's also more competition, which means you have to like really put
Get
in the
good.
work to get ahead of that
Skill
competition.
issue.
What you mean
Pure
by
skill issue. Absolute skill issue.
yeah.
It's like, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. No, sorry, I didn't mean to
All good, all
interrupt
good.
you.
But yeah, that's just the point I was making. So you, as you were saying, adaptability very important for that
Mm.
reason because you're competing against everyone else in the world. So
Oh
yeah.
yeah. Yeah. A lot of my father-in-law, he owns a business. My stepdad used to own a business. All my wife's family are all entrepreneurs of some sort, but they all do, like, again, they're all a lot older. None of them really have much to do with the internet and whatnot. So I'm around a lot of people that have similar mindsets. They understand the idea of you have to make the money yourself. Like, no one's gonna. The money doesn't just magically appear in your bank account at the end of each week. You gotta, and I think that's something that's really changed. So I feel like in the last year and a half, I feel like with being open to paid marketing, paid advertisement, I don't worry as much about the future because with organic traffic, it can be very difficult. And you look at anyone online, who's still big after 5 years? Who's still big after who can you think of that was popular on the internet in say 2009 who's still doing well today? Is there anyone?
Probably. I mean,
You
if you
know,
look at the
like,
biggest YouTuber, wouldn't it be PewDiePie? I don't know when you
yeah.
started, but probably.
I think maybe 2011. Well, you start getting
Oh,
big
that's
by
I don't know.
2011 or so. But even
Yeah.
then, you need to remember this. And even then, he isn't half the size of what he used to be. And he's a semi retired. So it's look, you guys get it.
Mhm.
It's a new brave world. And adaptability is definitely key. And I think there's definitely been a lot from the girl world that I've Hustle's University that I've got from that. But again, I don't want to sound like a sycophant because I feel like people that are in the T camp are already in the T camp. If you've already got the drive, if you've got the determination, if you're made of the right stuff, then you're going to do well regardless. But if you don't have that, you just don't have it. Sorry, mate. Skill issue. Get good.
Yeah, good. Yeah, I was about to say
Yeah,
same.
straight up. What can you say about that?
Yeah, cool. Um, Now, let me know if you don't want to reveal this, because I wanted to ask, would you be able to give like a rough figure for how much you've earned in those 3 months? And if it's not something you want to reveal, then maybe for perspective, how much of an increase was it from what you were doing before and how much you were earning?
I would say about 50 to 60% increase in income
Mhm.
with minimal increase in work. If I be honest with you, because I would say what I do maybe to maintain, I would say maybe an hour a day I spend to maintain where I am. And to expand, so to sit down, write new adverts, like do all that, manage freelancers, all that sort of stuff. About maybe 3 hours a day I would spend if I'm looking to do that sort of stuff. So again, pretty minimal. And again, like my wife works. I've got a small child. He's 3, so he is. So I don't really like. I used to I used to work on a laptop, but he's getting older. And he's turning more and more into a wee boy. He's turning into a toddler, and I don't want to be daddy's working on the laptop. I don't want to be like that. And that's really what I want to work more on towards is be able to spend more time with my child, and I don't want to, I want to do the best that I possibly can. That's,
So, in a way, you're one already in a better stage than most other people, because most other
yes.
people have to actually commute to their work and they
Yeah.
completely miss their child growing up. But you're at least as you said, from 2018, you've been self-employed, so that's
Yeah.
already one advantage. And now because you started e-commerce, that's another advantage because it's even
Mm.
less time they need to spend on the business. So
Oh
again,
yeah.
you're actually able to watch your child growing up.
Oh yeah. I think that's the most important thing you can do. I don't think there's anything more. I've met a lot of people that have been like, oh, well, what's your goals? What's your ambitions in life? And it's like, I already do a lot of my goals and ambitions. I write a lot. I love writing, so I do. I've sold quite a few books online. I would honestly, that's one thing that I've been doing a lot with as well, because I've been making so much more money. I've been able to pump more money into a lot of my works. So I've been able to get a lot more artwork done. A book cover I'm getting done. It's done by one of the guys. He did a Metallica album cover a few months back. So he's big money. He's not cheap. And to get my hands on an artist like that, that's pretty something that I wouldn't have been able to do before. I wouldn't have been able to risk that sort of money. Yes, will it sell? I know it will sell, but can I make it better? Can I improve what I'm doing? It's like, well, I'm gonna have to sink more money into it. Mm, are you willing to risk that much money? Who knows? But I feel a lot more confident.
Okay, very cool. And you mentioned advanced chat within e-commerce campus.
Yeah.
Were there any other aspects of Hustlers University that you benefited from or just spent time on?
So the advanced chat would be the only one I really spend any serious amount of time talking in. I do try and help people with site reviews and stuff. I really try and do that because, look, we all need to start somewhere. I already had a lot of experience like with website design and stuff before getting into this, so I already know a lot of this sort of stuff, and I can. Let's be serious. There's some people that just everyone needs to start somewhere, and everyone needs feedback. So I got no issue with saying like, you need this, 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 and this. Get that away. That's ridiculous. Cut that. Cut that. You need to change that. I've got no issue with that, and I think that's very valuable. But that would be the only other chat that I'm very active in. The other one that I have spent a bit of time in would be, well, the course in particular would be the business mastery. Arno, I think his stuff's really very good. I think they've been the courses that I've enjoyed the most, actually, if I'd be honest with you. I really liked Tate's 100 goals or the 100 lessons. That one was actually pretty good as well. So it was. I felt like there was a lot of stuff that I already knew. Have you ever had that where you talk to someone and they're speaking and it's almost like you already know what they're talking about, but they're connecting links in your brain and it almost like it clicks for you. It's like, oh yeah, like you already know something to be true, but
Yeah.
you're able to, oh, okay, yeah.
This probably
Like,
gives you a different perspective on the same concept.
yes,
That's what
yeah.
makes it click. Yeah.
Yeah. A great one that I love. I thought was really funny is the money in aspect, because I've had a lot of people come to me with all these ideas and stuff, and then they start talking about, oh, we're going to do this, we're going to get the accountant, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do that. It's like, oh my god, please stop. Where's the money? Where is the money? Like, it's so ridiculous. Some people that come to you, it's like, yeah, they're great at spending money. It's like, look, show me a business model that's going to make money first. That's what it has to be done. Because again, like, look, I've started. I would say I've started maybe 10 serious businesses, and I would say 4, 5, 5. I would say, yeah, 5. Well, 5 have done well. 5 have done well for some length of time, But it's one of those ones, So
So even though you have had a lot of experience in business, you still found some insights
yes,
from
definitely.
those lessons in
Yeah,
business.
yeah. I think they've definitely helped. I would recommend them to anyone, like genuinely, anyone who's already, like, even if you're in a successful business, I think it can't hurt to brush up on a lot of this information. I'm sure to a lot of people, like, that's already involved, who's been active for quite a few years. It's a lot of, like, you rehashing a lot of the same information that you would already probably know, but it can't hurt to freshen up. You got to stay sharp. And the only way to stay sharp is to continue to try and improve and expand, and talk to other people that also may know a thing or two, that no one gets there by themselves. Everyone bounces off each other to a certain extent.
Or a different perspective on that would be maybe by yourself you get there in 10 years, but with other people who have done it before, it could take like 3 months. So do you
Oh
want to spend
yes,
3 months on it
yeah.
or 10 years? So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I said that earlier. What I'm doing now took me a year and a half before I could do it full
Right.
time. And Jacob sat me down, showed me everything, really like held my hand the entire way through, and I managed to get there within 3 months. And it wasn't just I was able to start making money within 3 months. I was actually scaling. I'm starting to make serious money within 3 months. If I was to talk about that, about the other stuff, yeah, a year and a half before I could do it full time. But to start making like serious cash, probably 2 years, probably 2.5 years. So there's definitely a lot faster. With
Right.
with the help.
Mhm. And since you're on this trajectory now, where do you see your life heading in the short term, medium term, and the long term?
Short term, so my the ecom site that I have is quite niche. It's very niche. That's something that me and Jacob always had a lot of problems with. We had a lot of problems scaling it. We were always doing amazing at the 50 a day ad spend. Anytime we got up to 100, it felt like, yeah, we were increasing our sales by a tiny amount, but most of it was getting eaten by the ad spend. We weren't actually going up all that much. It was very slow. But I'm able to get us up to 200 a day now, and it's doing very well. My only issue is I need to improve my credit score, because I don't like the idea of overreaching myself in anything. I'm very conservative when it comes to a lot of this sort of stuff. So at the minute, realistically, I can only really do 200 ad spend, because I don't want to overextend myself. Um, so that's really good, and I think I'm going to keep it at the 200 ad spend for as long as I can, because like it's doing well. I'm just going to keep pumping out ads. I'm very happy with it. Although I do have a new product, and I actually ordered it in. It's completely finished. I can't really say it's not drop shipping. That's all I can say. Like again, what my main thing, it's not drop shipping either. But there's definitely a lot of rules and a lot of information that definitely applies to that. Um, it's ready. It's ordered in. It should be in by mid-August. And this product has got the same, if not more, potential as what my friend Jacob does. And he brings in hundreds of thousands a month at the moment. I believe I could, in time. Well, Jacob's actually really good at what he does. If I be honest with you, I don't know if I can. I don't know. I'll be honest with you. He's better than me. Maybe I could get close. If I could get close to that, I'd be very happy. But I think I've got a lot of potential. At the minute, I am. What am I sitting on at the minute? The last 30 days, I am on 13,000 in sales or so. I believe with this new product, I do think I could hit. I think I could hit definitely six figures for Christmas. If I be completely honest with you, my main issue is can I inject the cash into it to get the ad spend up that high quick enough? Maybe that's my biggest drawback at the moment anyway.
Mhm.
But things
Fair.
are looking right. Things are looking good, and
Yeah.
they're only looking better. As I say, I said that earlier. My main job, or the other stuff that I do, it's new. It doesn't have much of a lifespan. It hasn't really been. There's no. There's no blueprint to the future. No one really knows what the future holds for that sort of stuff. Whereas e-commerce, like merchant buying and selling, is one of the oldest human practices alive. At least
Buy
if
low,
I,
sell high. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, pretty much. But you get what I mean. I feel like I've got a little more hope for the future. Whereas before I was kind of worried. I was like, well, I know I'm not going to do this forever. Like that's just not what I'm going to do. What will I do after this? I don't know. I'll keep going for as long as I can. But with these new sales, with the running adverts and stuff like that, I definitely feel like I've got a far better lifespan ahead of me
Mhm.
by a lot, and I don't worry as much, because again, like, it's one of those ones. I think if you ask anyone who's self-employed, you know, you do have to worry about money. Like, yeah, you're doing well this month, but what about next month? What about the month after? And again, I've got a small child. I can't afford to be.
Exactly.
I can't afford to be reckless. I'm at a point in my life where I'm not 21 anymore, and I can't
Yeah.
just the idea of moving back into my mom's house just isn't an option for me anymore. I would like the idea of I need to make this work, and
Yeah.
I think if we
Again,
get
completely makes
there,
sense. Risk
yeah,
management completely changes once you have a family. And in your
yeah,
case, you have a wife, you have a child. So it completely makes sense that you're more conservative with managing risk
yeah.
because now it's the families. You have a family to support. It's not
Mhm.
just yourself. So yeah,
Yeah.
very good point.
It's one thing I get with a lot of my friends though, because a few of like, the people that are most interested in doing this sort of stuff have kids. Like one of my friends, he's very interested. Me and him have worked together on a few different projects together, and they've worked pretty well. And again, he's got children, so he does. But all my friends that don't seem to have kids and don't have like long-term relationships just don't seem to be like they've got. What are you doing? Like, what are you actually doing? Sort yourself out, man. Like, you tell me you want to work this 9 to 5. Nah, that's just not for me. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe that's just not. I'm not cut out for that anymore. You know, the idea of going back to a normal job, I would do it if I had to. Don't get me wrong. If push comes to shove, I no issue. Definitely would do it. But I'm gonna fight as hard as I can to not let that happen. You know. So
That reminds me, what was it in 2018 that actually made you set off on that path of self-employment?
So me and my wife moved in together. Well, we weren't married at the time. We were 23, I believe, in 2016. We moved in together, and of course, first time going on a house, didn't have a lot of money to spend on like hobbies and interests. So I thought, you know what? I can't really afford to do a lot of my hobbies and interests anymore. Why don't I do it online, talk about it online, and maybe share it and that sort of stuff. And maybe that would scratch that itch. Maybe that would fulfill me in and I could do it for free. And like if it worked out, maybe I get a few quid, and therefore I can fund that hobby and aspect again. That'd be really cool, wouldn't it? So I started up and started playing about with it, and people were interested. They were really enjoying it. I was like, oh, mate, this is pretty cool. And so I was slowly doing that, like building up on it, and over time it got to the point where it was doing really, really well. And then this is probably one of the best and the worst thing. Well, no, it was actually probably the best thing that ever happened to me. I landed into a bit of trouble in works with it, with HR. Do you know how hard it is to get sent to a HR department when you work in a kitchen? It's very difficult. It's very difficult. I'm sure any of you guys that work in hospitality, you guys know how rough chefs can be, and they're vulgar guys, but they're fun guys to work with, and it's good fun. You can't say no to that. But to get sent to HR when you work in a kitchen, that's an achievement. That should go on that should go on my wall. So it should. Anyway, got into some issue. I got suspended from work with pay for a week, and I was like, right, okay, well, they're not happy with me. I'm gonna spend this week banging out what I'm doing. And this was still quite early, but I came close to what my weekly pay was in that week, and I was like, whoa. Oh, I started looking at things differently almost. I was like, mate, this has actually got potential. This isn't just like, something you can do for fun. I could actually turn this into like a job or a career, mate. That's mad. And I was working in a kitchen. So like, if you work in a kitchen, that's pretty dead end work, isn't it? Let's be serious, guys. Some people love it. It is what it is. I liked it. I like, and I don't regret spending my time doing it. That's all I could put on it. So yeah, I spent a week doing that, and then over the next couple months, I just kept working on it, kept improving, and I handed in my notice in the June or the July, and I said to them in work, I said, like, I'm not in any big hurry to leave. I don't want to shaft you. I don't want to do you guys over. I don't want to do you guys dirty. So I'll give you my notice, but I know it takes a while for you guys to get new staff in, so I'll hang about until you guys get more staff, and that's no issue. I've got no problem with that. And then what happened was one of the other guys straight up just lied about me in work and said, oh, I hadn't done what I was supposed to be done, went to the manager and whatnot. I was like, all right, mate, tell you how it is. And I just walked out. I was like, nah, I'm not having you. I'm here to sort you guys. I'm here to help you. I don't have to be here anymore. And ever since then, I've just been going really hard at it and trying to do what has to be done, and it's been working out quite well. And yeah, I'm happy where I am. I think everything has it been easy? No, no. Has it been brutal at times? Yeah.
There's a transferable skill with
Yeah.
what you were doing from the kitchen to what you're doing now, and I say that's stress tolerance,
Yeah.
because
Oh,
you
yeah,
experience quite a bit of stress in that
yeah.
environment. So yeah, and
Yeah.
then you need to actually work through. So yeah.
Yeah, well, that's something that I do feel like I probably that's something I feel like I'm terrible at. Jacob's amazing at that stress tolerance. I worry something shocking. See, when it comes to like ringing HMRC, I'm like, oh god. You start shaking and stuff. It's like, oh god. Like, I can feel my heart going and all. I'm like, oh god, please. But again, I felt like that was a great one with the 100 lessons with Tate. I felt like that was actually a really good one. It's like, you can't just bury this stuff. You have to just meet it head on. You just have to, and he's right. Sadly, there's a lot of stuff where you see you start getting emails in, and like, people are shouting at you, and it's like, oh Jesus, oh God, please make it stop. But you can't. You're just gonna have to. You have to write back to them emails. You have to get that sort of stuff done. You're just gonna have to
Mhm.
power through it, and it will get better, and it will get easier as well. I feel like it will get easier the more you do it.
Fair enough. Okay. Really enjoyed the interview. I think we can wrap up with a final question.
Yeah.
So, for people who are thinking, man, $50 to join Hustlers University, I might get scammed. What advice
Well,
would you have for those people?
I would argue that if you're not a fan of Andrew Tate, it does, I get it. I'm like, I would say I'm definitely warming up to him a lot more than what I was, because the guy's made me a lot of money. And it's like, well, I can't really say too much bad about him now, but he wasn't he's not my cup of tea, and that's perfectly fine. He's a very he's acquired taste. People love him, people hate him. That's just part of the game. You know what I mean? Get over yourself. If 50 quid's too much, that's, sorry mate, you're done for. I can't really say much else than that. You were never going to make it anyway. If 50 quid is going to bust the bank, or, well, it's not even just bust the bank. It's just get over yourself, mate. You know what I mean? Like, honestly, that's what I felt like. Because it was actually Jacob turned around to me and said, you really should just join this. I'm like, yeah, you're right. Sure, I'll go for it. And that's what really came down to me. And I felt bad messaging him constantly, like, stupid questions. You don't want to be doing that. The guy's busy. He's he's pulling in silly, 6-figure, good, high 6 figures a month every month. He don't have time to, James. Don't put that there. How do I set up the tracking page? You know what I mean? It's like, come on, mate, sort yourself out. I would say if you're really keen on business, if you're really interested in developing your skill set, if you want to make money online, if you don't want to work a normal job, if you want to be self-reliant on yourself, 50 quid. What's 50 quid? Sort yourself out, but again, it depends on if you're going to use it. You can sign up for it, and then it's like, oh yeah, I signed up for it. Well, that doesn't do anything. Did you watch any of the courses? No. All right, mate, no sweat. And another thing, it's one thing watching the courses. Are you actually doing anything? Like, have you set up anything? Have you done anything about it? You can sit down and watch and read and learn everything you want, but if you're not putting them skills to the test, or if you're not practicing it, then that's on you, mate. That's on you. Overall, I would say it's worked for me, and that's all I can say. If it's worked for me and it's worked for my friend, then what else can you put on it?
All right. And so far, that's a 2 out of 2 success rate from the people.
Yeah. Well, pretty much. Yeah. I mean, if it worked for me, it worked for him. But the thing was, I would say myself, Jacob's very skilled at what he does. He's very talented. He's a very smart guy, so he is. And I think he would have done well regardless, but I think the rule will definitely set him up for success. And I was already doing quite well before this, and I think it's only improved on what I'm doing. I think I've definitely made more money than what I have. From the 50 quid, I think I've probably made easily an extra 10 to 15,000 pounds. 10 to 15,000 pounds, 50 quid. So I can't spend that much, mate. Oh, you tell me, a website that's £30 a month. Oh, I can't afford that. All right, okay, sure, mate.
Exactly as you say.
We said it before.
As long as you implement what you learn, that's the most important part. So
yeah. Put when rubber meets the road, And also another key thing is no battle plan makes first contact with the enemy. So that support, that advanced chat, worth its weight in gold, honest to God, really has been, because nothing's ever going to go perfectly. Nothing's ever going to be, oh, I did this and then this worked out, and then I did this and this worked out. It's like, there's so many problems, there's so many hurdles. There's always going to be a new issue. There's always a new problem. I get at least a serious issue once a week. One that could probably put you out of business once a week, it feels like. And without that chat, it's definitely helped me a lot, so.
Mm-hmm. Super solid. So thank you for coming on and sharing your experience, sharing some of your tips and your knowledge. Again, super cool for me as well that I interviewed Jacob, and then Jacob is the one who recommended Hustle University to you, and now here I am interviewing you because of that.
It's a weird way how it works, Yeah. Well, it's one of those ones. Are you telling me if one of your friends came to you and he was like, yeah, mate, I'm making six figures a month, and show me what you're doing. Give me that information now. You know what I mean? It's like, what do you? No, I need that information. You don't get it. I will come around to your house. I'll be banging on your door. You're showing me how to do this. I'm like, that's just what you got to do. So we'll see the
Okay.
edits of that. Anyway.
All right. So yeah, James, great
Mhm.
speaking to you, and I wish you all the best for future.
Oh, thank you.
Really wish you do succeed in getting that new product
Yeah.
to 6 figures by end of the year. That sounds like a really cool
Yeah.
goal to have.
It's got
And if
potential.
you, pardon, yeah, it's
It's
got
got
potential,
it's
you say.
it's got potential.
And there's always a potential as well for a follow up interview. So if you have some substantial progress to update on, would be great to have you on
Yeah, sure.
and actually to have that documented. And
Mhm.
then let's see in 15 years when your son's looking around for a job, he'll be looking back on this video and be
Oh,
like, this is how my father was. Maybe I'll
yeah.
follow in his footsteps, which I think is a
Hopefully,
really cool concept as well.
hopefully, it's. I feel like that's something though that I do want for him, but I'm worried at the same time because I've met a lot of people that have never worked. I've met a lot of people that have done very well, very very young. And don't get me wrong, that's great. I want people to do as well as they can as soon as they can. But I feel like having a terrible job for a couple of years will definitely it's character building, and you need that.
Mhm.
It's kind of like you could argue the same thing about relationships. Like you need to have a really terrible relationship at least once. Be like, oh mate, this is amazing. You don't know what you're missing until you need bad to experience the good, and that's what I would say. So again, one of those ones I'd be worried about that with him. It's like, yeah, well, can I sort him out? Can I set him up? Can I get him going this? But will he have the same mindset? That's something that you see an awful lot in history, for instance. Look at the Mongol Empire, for instance. This is a great. Well, I probably shouldn't bring up this one, but controversial person, Bill Cosby. He was born very, very poor, born into absolute poverty, and he started making a lot of money. And his children, they weren't really quite born into like millionaire status, but they were definitely middle class by the time they were born. But the time his grandkids are in, they're born millionaires. And he said he found a very hard time communicating with them because they were almost like a different world. They were born into a different environment. And I feel like you need to have that environment to make you who you are almost. And that's
Yeah, for
something that,
sure, 100%. Like you do need hardships. It's hardships that what molded you. I'd say similar for me as well. Similar for
yeah,
everyone. Like hardships mold a stronger man as long as
yeah.
you get through them. So yeah,
Yeah. As long as you don't crumple and fall over and
yeah,
die,
exactly.
So
Because that's the two options. You either get through it or just become a victim to it and have
yeah.
that experience.
Well, I know it's cringe saying it, but it's like diamonds. You know what I mean? The only way to form diamonds
Yeah.
with high pressure, either crumple or you form that diamond. There's no in between. So.
All right. But can wrap it up here. So yeah,
Mhm.
James, great speaking to you, and
All right.
I wish you all the best.
Oh, thank you.